Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then welcome. My name's Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. So before you go, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave any comments that you have for me down below. We're going to be comparing these skin tints. This is the Maybelline 24-Hour Skin Tint, and this is the L'Oreal Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. This one came out a little while back, while this one is more brand new. We're going to be talking about how they differ, how they're similar. I'm going to be demoing them on each side of my face, and then I'm going to be doing a complete wear test throughout the day so I can show you guys how each one lasts. So if that's something you're interested in, then let's get started. So I do have a dedicated video to the Maybelline Skin Tint, and I don't have one for the L'Oreal one. However, I've talked about this skin tint or skin serum so many times on my channel in so many random videos, and if you don't already know, this is by far one of my favorite foundations. Not even just like a skin tint serum type of thing, just as an everyday foundation. I love this. I just recently did the review on this one, and I really like this one as well. I've worn it, I've tested it, I have done like entire days with it, and I think that this does so well throughout the day. So I wanted to compare these two, give you guys all of the actual information on it, and then my experience with both of them. First, I'm gonna talk about like the actual differences in price and how they're marketed as well. So I'm basing this off of Ulta right now. Now you can probably find these at Walmart, at Target for different prices. But currently, the L'Oreal True Match Tinted Serum is on sale on Ulta's website for $15.99. It says that it's usually $19.99. There are 14 shades in this foundation. 14 isn't huge, and it does tend to be a range. So the one I have is 4 to 5 medium, and it does like 1 to 2, 3 to 4, all that stuff. Because it's more of a sheer tinted serum, it's supposed to be a lot more flexible in shade. I think that's why they can justify having 14 shades, but still it seems a little lackluster to me. The description on this says it contains 1% hyaluronic acid, instantly brightens, evens, and hydrates the skin. And the benefits of this, it says it hydrates and smooths over time. Instantly, skin looks brighter, even, and feels hydrated. Luminous mineral pigments brighten the complexion. Going over now to the Maybelline one, this one on Ulta's website retails for $17.99, so pretty similar. But if we're talking L'Oreal without the sale, it is cheaper than L'Oreal. This one has 18 shades, and it's also supposed to be a flexible coverage and flexible shade range. Usually with something that is a little bit more sheer, you do have a little bit more wiggle room when it comes to shade matching. It's a skin tint plus vitamin C. This long wear skin tint delivers skin-like coverage and a natural radiant finish while resisting sweat, humidity, and fading. It says it's up to 24-hour wear, made for everyday use, dermatologist tested. The L'Oreal one does not say how long it's supposed to wear. I don't believe it's marketed as a long wear. I feel like I've worn this all throughout the day, 12 plus hours before, and it has held up incredibly well. My L'Oreal one is pretty down there, and I actually put this into a refillable compact so I could use it as like a cushion foundation. If you haven't seen that video, I do have a short Instagram reel and TikTok like showing you the process of that. Looking at these in the tube, if we can look at them in the tube, it seems like both of them do have a little bit of that radiant finish in there, like those micro pigments that the L'Oreal description talked about. It does have a little bit of that shiny pigment in there for both of these. Something that I have noticed with the Maybelline one right off the bat, this one was more of a matte finish while the L'Oreal one was more of a hydrating finish. And that's not surprising because it does have that hyaluronic acid in it. I hate this dropper applicator thing. I think it's super messy. I think that it gets all over the outside of the bottle. And also you can't even get a lot of product within the dropper. Like you can get half of what you would need for your entire face in the dropper. You're better off just kind of like wiping off what's on the outside of this dropper. I'm going to do Maybelline on my left side and L'Oreal on my right side. We're going to apply them and kind of talk about how they apply, and I'll show you guys my preferred method for both of these. They're actually quite similar in my methods of applying them. So to prep the skin, I'm actually going to be using the e.l.f. Liquid Poreless Putty Primer. I did a whole video dedicated to the new e.l.f. launches, and that should be coming up, hopefully. I filmed it a while ago, but I'm just going to use this, and I'm going to prep the face the same on both sides of the face so we can give these both the same chance. I have used these skin tints with multiple different primers, multiple setting sprays, multiple powders. I think that there's so much versatility, especially because it is more of that light to medium coverage. All right, we're gonna start off with our OG. This is the L'Oreal one. We're gonna start on the right side right here. And the way that I like to apply this is just straight on with the fingers. I like to blend it in with the fingers, and then I'll fully buff it and blend it into the skin with either a sponge or a brush. And I know it is not sanitary, but this is my own personal tube. No one else touches this. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this in with my fingers. And honestly, this does so well with the brush, with a sponge. I think my preferred methods are with my fingers and with a brush. A brush is going to give you more coverage. So with something that's light to medium coverage, if you want to get the most out of it, you're better off not using a sponge, to be honest. I think I'm gonna take this BK Beauty 101 and I'm just going to blend it out, and then if I have to, I'll go ahead and use a sponge. So this is with a very thin first layer. I usually would go in with a little bit more, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna put a little more on my cheeks right here and then blend that out. I think it's really great for evening out the skin tone, but it does do a little bit more than that in my opinion. I feel like it does give really nice coverage. I would say that this is a light medium coverage. And we're avoiding the under eyes because we are just gonna go in with concealer there, so we don't pack on too much product. But we are gonna take it down the neck. Okay, cleaning off my brush here. And now we're gonna go in with the Maybelline Skin Tint. Hopefully these shades are similar. And same thing, I'm actually gonna take, oh no, I just dripped it somewhere. Oh, I just got it on my carpet. So I'm just gonna take this on my fingers. I feel like this one is a little bit more runny for some reason. It feels thinner and more runny, which I didn't notice in my review video. And we're gonna do the same thing, buff it out with my finger, further blend it with a brush, and then go in with a sponge if we need to. So here's what both sides of my face is looking like right away, right after applying them. I feel like the Maybelline Skin Tint dried down a lot quicker than the L'Oreal one, and I think the L'Oreal one in general just stays a little bit more hydrated in the way that it looks. They both feel similar, but I want to say that the Maybelline one, I can feel a little bit more. Maybe it's because I just freshly applied this side, so I'm like, it hasn't fully dried down, you know? As far as finish goes, I think I'm getting a little bit more luminosity on this side of my face with the L'Oreal one, if you guys can see that, versus the side with the Maybelline. Still looks radiant and luminous, but it seems to have dried down into more of a matte radiance, like a natural matte, you know what I mean? And that's actually something I did notice with the Maybelline review video. As far as coverage goes, that's a tough one. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more coverage with Maybelline right here in these areas, and what I'm looking at is my acne scarring and my hyperpigmentation and some of my freckling here. I can still see a little bit more of my acne scarring on my cheek on my right side, and on my chin I feel like I'm seeing a little bit more, slightly more coverage here with the Maybelline one. Did I use more product? No, because I did like 1.5 layers on this side. Neither one seemed to be accentuating the pores. Neither one is really sinking into any fine lines that I have. I will say, right, like first glance, it looks like one foundation. Like it looks like I just have the same thing on both sides of my face. What do you guys think so far of just the skin tints? Can you tell a difference? It is so subtle and slight, I can hardly tell. So now what I'm gonna do is put the rest of my makeup on. I'm gonna be using the same products on either side of my face. I'm gonna be kind of testing and making sure that I'm looking at how each product layers with each skin tint. And I will report back when I'm finished with my full face. Alright guys, here is the full face of makeup. I just finished it. I still need to do my hair. So I'm going to keep my hair up for now. But this is what everything is looking like. I'm not a fan of my eyeshadow today. I feel like it looks really patchy. So let's not look at that too much, okay? So as I was applying my makeup, I did concealer, cream bronzer, cream blush, and I powdered everything down, and I did some powder bronzer as well. As I was doing every step, I was kind of trying to decipher which side was looking better than the other. Now, as a preface, my bronzer always looks patchy in this area. I just have a patch of skin there that just never wants to hold on to bronzer. So I'm going to omit this section in my whole patch test type of thing and like how smooth my makeup is looking. I will say that as I was applying each product, I was noticing that the L'Oreal side still looked more hydrated and luminous, and it still does. I still feel like you can kind of see with my lighting and everything that this side of my face is looking a little bit more hydrated versus this side. This still looks very radiant and nice, but overall I think this would be more categorized as matte while this is more dewy. You know what I mean? So everything went on to each side really nicely. I will say, oddly enough, that on the L'Oreal side, my concealer under my eye was just looking a little bit more textured, but I think I just have a little bit more texture on this side because I do notice that whenever I put on my concealer on like an everyday basis, you know. When it came to bronzer, my cream bronzer, I feel like on the L'Oreal side, it actually went on a little bit more smoothly and it was a lot easier to blend in versus this side with the Maybelline one. I had to work a little bit more to get it to look the same. I think a little bit of it has to do with the fact that the bronzer I use, which is the Makeup by Mario, my trusty Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer in the shade Medium, I used this as my overall bronzer for the face. And I think because it's more of that, for lack of a better term, greasy, thin texture, it just goes on to a more hydrated base better than something that is a little bit more matte. So as far as my blush, I think kind of the same thing. I think that I was getting a lot more of a smooth, even application on the L'Oreal side, and I had to work a little bit harder on the Maybelline side to get it to look the same. I just think that all of my cream products ended up looking more pigmented and a little smoother, a little quicker on the L'Oreal side versus the Maybelline side. I had to work it in a little bit more, you know, but overall I think they both look really nice. I will say right off the bat, if you're looking for something that's going to give you more of a dewy, natural dew type of look, the L'Oreal will definitely be the way to go. But if you do end up looking too dewy throughout the day, maybe a little oily if you are oily, or if you tend to veer that way, especially when it's hotter, the Maybelline one might be a good option because it does seem to dry down a little bit more without making your face look super dry and super matte. That is like my first initial impression. Both sides right now are looking great. I'm really happy with how everything is looking. I have a feeling that because the Maybelline side did dry down a bit more, it's just gonna last better today. So I have a full day today. I am going to see my younger sister play in a Special Olympics bowling tournament, and then we're gonna go to dinner with the family, and I might do some errands in between there, and we'll see how it goes. I will be checking in with my phone throughout the day so I can show you guys how each side is wearing, just so we can get some check-ins, and then at the end of the night I will check in and give you my final thoughts on everything. But as far as application, I think L'Oreal was just easier, but I think as far as the way it's gonna stay throughout the day, I think Maybelline's gonna win that one. Those are just my predictions. We will see how this does throughout the rest of the day. This is with natural light from my window. This is Maybelline side. This is L'Oreal side. Alright guys, here for my first check-in. It's 2 o'clock right now. I actually didn't check the time of when I put this on, but I think it was around 11 o'clock. This is what each side is looking like. Honestly, it's looking the same as earlier, which is surprising. It's very hot today. It says the outside temperature is 100 degrees. I just had my sunglasses on and it put more of a mark on this side than it did on this side. But my sister is on that side. I think it looks good. If anything, shoot, I don't know. I think maybe right here I'm producing a little bit more oil, but barely. Okay. Hey guys, so it's 5:40 in the evening and I just wanted to do a check-in. I'm standing in front of this big mirror in my entryway and I feel like you can really see better what's going on here. I'm gonna zoom in as much as I can. If you can tell, this side right here, my pores are being a little bit more accentuated than this side right here. Very, very slightly. if you really, really look at it, you can see there's more oil production happening right there than there is right there. But aside from the actual like pores, the way that all of my other makeup is sitting looks pretty much the same. Everything has stayed put for the most part. It's just my oils like coming through, you know? My under eyes are looking equally as crepey, to be honest, but this is what we're looking at. This is what we're looking like. Probably gonna do another check-in before finishing off this video. All right, guys, I am back. It is 8:08 p.m. So I've officially had this on for, I want to say, about 9 hours. I don't have a ton to do for the rest of the day. I feel like 8 to 9 hours is pretty standard, and I feel like I'm seeing some pretty clear differences. So I feel confident enough to kind of talk about this. To refresh your memory, this side right here is the L'Oreal Serum, and this side is the Maybelline Skin Tint. All right, so in my last check-in, I did mention that this side right here, where my pores are on my cheek, are looking way more accentuated than the Maybelline Skin Tint side, and that still kind of holds true. I feel like these pores just, they have the illusion of looking larger because my oils are kind of like seeping through more, you know? And I also can tell overall, just like on the high points of my cheek, on my forehead right here, I'm looking a little bit more shiny. It's very, very minimal. I would say the difference between them is very minimal on how shiny they look. If we're being super nitpicky, which we are because we are comparing the two foundations, the L'Oreal side is going to be a little bit more hydrating, which is no surprise because, again, this does include hyaluronic acid serum in it, while this one does say that it has more of that natural radiant finish to it, which to me, the finish on this one is definitely more matte than this one. I still really love the way that both of them look, but I think that they both serve different purposes. So for instance, for the L'Oreal Serum, I love this one when I want a super natural, undetectable type of foundation look. I want something that'll even out my skin, kind of cover up the redness on my face, just even out the skin tone in general, and very lightly cover up any hyperpigmentation that I may have, but I want it to look like I'm not really wearing anything. And this L'Oreal side will absolutely give you kind of that like, just did my skincare, I'm super glowy from my skincare look, but with the added benefit of having a foundation on, you know? Whereas this side right here is really great if you need something that's gonna last a bit longer than the L'Oreal one, and if you tend to have more oily skin type like I do, especially throughout the day, maybe it's more humid, maybe you have a long day ahead of you, but you still wanna wear something that's quite lightweight, I think the Maybelline Skin Tint would be the option for you. I will say it still looks really natural, but you can definitely detect it a little bit more as having foundation on than the L'Oreal one. I don't like either one over the other. I'm gonna say that right now. I know that I'm gonna get that question in the comments a lot. I really do enjoy both of them equally, and I like them for different reasons. I think both just sit really well on the skin. They both feel super lightweight. Products go onto them really nicely. Like I mentioned earlier, I did have to work a little bit harder right here on the Maybelline side, but overall, everything is sitting on top of them pretty much the same way. I really think it is personal preference, to be honest. So maybe if you have drier skin, maybe if you're going through any sort of like skincare regimen, maybe a chemical peel, maybe retinol, and you tend to like flake and peel and stuff, and you want something that's going to be a little bit more hydrating, then the L'Oreal one would be a great option for you. Or again, like I said, if you do need something that's a bit long wearing and something that is gonna stay a little bit more matte, then the Maybelline one I would say is a good option for you. So you definitely have options. They're both very different in my opinion. Hopefully I was able to answer your questions and give you a thorough comparison. If I missed anything or if you have additional questions, leave them in the comments down below and I'll be sure to answer those for you guys. If you enjoyed it and found this helpful, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!